When your body changes, you have to figure out how to refit into society as well. It is so tied in with our identities. And if you are experiencing anger at your body or you're feeling a sense of betrayal, it is so hard to move forward. And so some of my favorite clients have used these photos to walk back some of that negative self-talk. How magical that would be to just be able to remember and pull those photos back up and be like, this is me, this is my highest self, this is the person that I want to be today and every day.
What's going on, everybody? Kyle Powers here with Haven Real Estate Group at eXp Realty, here with another episode of Local Legends of the Flint Hills, where business meets community. I've got a very, very special guest with me and friend of mine now, Kaila Williams with Moody Boudie. Kaila, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. So let's kind of get into it. So talk to us a little bit about what that day looked like when you're like, okay, I'm going to take photos, and what inspired you to really kind of start that?
So I have been interested in boudoir for a long time. Sure. I had a friend that did boudoir photography when I lived in Seattle, and she made it sound amazing, empowering, just a great experience for both the client and the photographer. And I always wanted to do it, but I really had this deep sense that you could, as much as it could help people, it could harm people if you didn't know what you were doing and you didn't know how to work with people, because you know, it's such a personalized thing how people feel about their bodies, and they could definitely come out of a session feeling worse if you didn't know what you were doing. And so I've been interested in it for a long time. And then I actually got the opportunity to work for a traveling company. And so I went to Colorado and got trained how to do it. And I worked with them for 8 years. Traveled all over the United States. I probably photographed over 1,000 women. Wow. And it was an amazing experience. It was a growing experience. And I learned a lot of things that I wanted to bring into my own business when I started my own business. And so that's essentially how I got into it, and I love it. Yeah.
And we talked off camera, and you've been doing it for 20 years or so, right?
Well, I've been a photographer for 20 years. Sure. I've been doing boudoir for about 10.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So one of the focuses that you have at Moody Boudie is just kind of self-love, self-care, that kind of thing. How do you keep your clientele and make sure that they kind of ease and have the best experience that they're able to?
Yeah, so as women, we give so much of ourselves to the people that we love. We pour ourselves into our children, our families, our work, our different identities that we have, our parents, and we really do take on that role of caretaker. And the person that we take care of the least is ourselves. And so it's really important to take time for yourself and just recognize the parts of you that need healing, that need addressed. What I personally love about boudoir is it gives you a day to just be pampered, to feel amazing. You get your hair and makeup done. You get to wear outfits that you feel amazing in. And then at the end, you have these photos and these memories that allow you to feel like a badass whenever you look at them. And so you can always kind of call back and remember, you know, those days when you wake up and you're just not feeling your greatest and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm old and my eyes are drooping and whatever. You can just pull up one of your boudoir photos and be like, no, you know what? Yeah. I'm being really hard on myself today. I'm going to set that down and I'm just going to own who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Giving power back. I love it. So Kaila, talk us through the full process, right? When a client calls you up and calls up Moody Boudie and says, from the initial consultation to the final image reveal, what does that process look like from start to finish?
Absolutely. So typically before a session, I have a few things that I will send to clients. One is a page on my website to sort of prepare them, tell them where to shop, where to look for lingerie, think about pieces that they can bring that are not necessarily not necessarily lingerie. It doesn't have to be, they can make the session whatever they want. It doesn't have to be super sexy if they don't want to. It could be ultra sexy if they want it to.
Sure.
And we typically have a phone consultation to book them in, and we go over all the details there. I allow them to ask any questions that they have, and I get them all the answers that they need, and then I send them that prep guide. And then they show up the day of. The whole process the day of takes about 4 hours typically, because I encourage them to bring a few different pieces, and I help guide them through that process. If you don't have lingerie, you don't know where to start. And I've styled thousands of women now. Sure. And so I'm weirdly an expert in lingerie, I know. I've ordered from almost all of the major brands in that vertical, and so I just know what looks good, and I will ask questions like about your body shape and what you're really wanting to show off, what you're really proud of, what you maybe feel a little bit more self-conscious of, and see just kind of what you want to get out of the session.
Sure. Are
you wanting to challenge yourself and embrace more of yourself and see more of yourself? Are you wanting to just feel really good and have something that, like I said, you can look at and just be like, yes, I'm it, you know?
Yeah.
Are you giving this as a gift to a partner, and what do they love if you are? Those are sort of the questions that we'll talk through and work through together. And then we'll kind of choose pieces based on those answers. And then once they come the day of, the hardest part is getting here, because you'll get in your head and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to pose. I'm going to be so awkward. She's going to put me in a pose and just be like, and now look sexy. And like, what does that even mean? You know?
Yeah.
But once you get here, my hair and makeup artist is fantastic. She'll pamper you. She'll pluck your eyebrows if you need your eyebrows plucked. She'll make sure that you look just like chef's kiss. Nice. So you can feel really confident. And once she leaves, we'll try on all your pieces. We'll choose the pieces that we are officially going to use in the shoot, and then we'll start posing. And I'll be with you every step of the way. I'll be helping you breathe. I never put you in a pose and say, and now look sexy. I'll be like, you know, I give you tangible directions. So I'll be like, look down at your hip, flutter your eyes up. You know, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just give me a big exhale. Things like that it's almost like a yoga class.
Sure.
You know, if you've ever taken a yoga class with an experienced teacher, it is not, you don't sit there and feel awkward the whole time. You're moving,
sure.
You're finding movement, we're keeping you from locking up. And really, the first outfit is the worst. And then after that, you start to loosen up, you start to feel better. And by the end, people are like, oh, we're done? Are you sure we can't keep going? Like, it's just a blast. Yeah. You're laughing the whole time. We're just having a great time together. Yeah, it's good. It's fun.
Cool. So one of your sessions in the full package, right? You start with makeup and help them outfits and all that kind of stuff. So you said the day of the shoot, it's 4 hours. How much prep time do you give and guidance beforehand, before the day of shoot?
Yeah, so like I said, I have a whole page on my website that I send with all the information that they need. We spend 15 to 30 minutes talking before their session, so I get to know them a little bit, they get to know me a little bit, and then I send them a few reminder emails with sort of the prep guide just broken up.
Sure.
I send them YouTube videos with stretches, because you're doing poses and using muscles that you wouldn't normally use. And so it is normal to be sore the next day, to have a little trouble walking. It's not hard. When you're here, not hard. When you leave, you might be sore the next day. So it's really important to drink a lot of water. It's kind of like a massage. It's funny because I've been doing it for 10 years. Sure. And I do my own sessions because I need to know what it feels like to be in front of the camera, just so I can serve my clients better. And I will be sore the next day because you're just holding yourself in a way that you don't normally. And when I'm doing sessions, I do it for like 2 seconds, you know, the pose or whatever it is, and I don't have to stand there in it. And so it's just a a funny thing that happens. Yeah.
Makes sense. So what would you, for someone watching this video, maybe they're a little bit nervous, a little bit shy, whatever that is, what would you suggest, advice, anything like that, as far as that goes, and what kind of, what advice would you give to them if they're interested or just wanting to know more about boudoir shots?
Absolutely. The first piece of advice I'd give is your session is yours. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's, and it can be, like I said, as sexy as you want, as more demure as you want, and it's a good idea to incorporate pieces of yourself. So bring that book that you love. We can absolutely use that as a prop. Sure. Bring your favorite band tee. We can actually do a few photos in that. Bring things that matter to you, and think of this as a time to really explore those parts of yourself and your identity that you don't get to explore very often because, again, you're serving everyone else. Yeah. And to just try on parts of yourself, maybe that you haven't connected with in a long time. The other thing that I would say, I think every boudoir photographer has a superpower. Some are really funny, and some are really, just very outgoing and very over the top. And, for me, I think my superpower is that I just have a very nurturing personality. I'm very calming. So as soon as you're in my presence, I tend to be just a very calming individual. It is normal to have nerves. And again, the hardest part of a boudoir session is showing up. Because your head is telling you all the ways that you're going to fail, and it's going to be awkward, and this is not going to go well. But we will be here every step of the way for you, just helping you through it. I will show you every single pose. I won't just, you're not going to have to come up with anything yourself. I will hold your hand a little bit. And together we're going to create something that's really magical that you're going to love and that will really resonate with you for years to come. And just, again, allow you to explore those parts of yourself that you don't get to explore very often.
You've been in the boudoir shots for 10 years now, right? So share with us one moment or one client or one person that has been your most memorable and most impactful session that you've been able to do, and what that's done for you and what that looked like.
So the sessions that I really love are working with women who have had body trauma of some sort. Maybe they had a cancer diagnosis, maybe they, had miscarriage, maybe they had an infant loss or a stillborn. And the thing that is going on a lot of times for those women is they feel like their body betrayed them, and they don't view it in the same way, and they can't find anything positive with it because they are angry. And I understand that because I was in a freak hiking accident when I was 28, and my leg was basically crushed off my body, and it had to be rebuilt. I had to relearn how to walk. I spent months in the hospital. It was a traumatic experience for me, and I had to relearn how to identify with my body, because especially as women, because society judges us so harshly on our bodies, when your body changes, you have to figure out how to refit into society as well. It is so tied in with our identities, and if you are experiencing anger at your body or you're feeling a sense of betrayal, it is so hard to move forward. And so some of my favorite clients have used these photos to walk back some of that negative self-talk, sure. Especially if you've had scars or your body has significantly changed. I had one woman who had wasting in her leg, and so her thigh was almost just the size of her femur. I mean, it was just very thin, and we worked together, and I was able to show her that she's still beautiful, she's still worthy of love, she's still an incredible person. And when she saw her photos, she cried because she couldn't find that in herself. She would just focus on this traumatic thing that happened to her, and it made her feel older than she was. It made her feel just unlovable. And it's so tragic that I know so many women who stay locked in their house. They gained 20 pounds. And so now they don't want to go out and see their friends because they're embarrassed. They shut their lives down based on their anxiety around the way that they look. And there are many things that we can do as a society to kind of walk that back, and I think that we are.
Sure.
But one of the things you can do for yourself if you are worried about that, or if that is something that you struggle with, is really to see yourself in photos, and to use those photos as a tool to really embrace who you are and start to see the beauty in yourself, because there is so much, and everyone around you that loves you sees it every single day. It's just hard when we see the best version of ourselves and the worst version of ourselves, you know? We stand in the mirror in the morning before we've gotten ready with our coffee cup or whatever, and we're looking at ourselves in our full-length mirrors, and we're like, oh my gosh, and we're comparing ourselves to the Instagram models that are like totally posed and photoshopped and whatever else, and we just think, that could never be me. I could never look that good. I've had women tell me that the women in my portfolio, oh, I could never do that. I could never look like that. I could never be that person. And it's like, actually, if you see that person in the street, she's just a normal person, you know? But she came in and she did this, and she looks amazing and she feels amazing. The only reason we all don't look like movie stars is because we don't have a team of people making us look that good every day of the world, you know?
Very true.
And so, just taking your power back can be huge. It can be life-changing. I've seen women go on and leave abusive boyfriends, husbands, change their lives, go back to college, feel just more confident, change jobs, just change situations about their lives that they weren't happy with, because they finally just set down the lie that they kept telling themselves, which is, I'm not good enough. And they realized, I am good enough and I deserve to be happy. And I think that's great.
I love it. I think too many times we are our own worst critic. I mean, honestly. So I love that. I love the empowering that piece of it. So, okay. So with Moody Boudie, you've been here for 10 years, or you've been in business for 10 years. What does the future look like for you and growth there?
I would really like to partner with other healers and do multi-day healing work. I think that there are so many people that do work that would complement a boudoir session, whether that is helping people, you know, having a small group of women get together over a weekend and having them do work around releasing old stories, and releasing old traumas, and then taking the photos at the end of that process, and so they can really see their best selves shining forth in the images, you know? And just going through a healing process, and then when you're on that high, having the photos taken at that time, and like how magical that would be to just be able to remember and pull those photos back up and be like, this is me, this is my highest self, this is the person that I want to be today and every day. And I want to leave all that old stuff, all that old trauma, I just want to leave it behind me, and I just want to focus on the life that I want to create. And so that's really, I think, the next step.
No, I love that. That's again, powerful. I mean, that's amazing. So, okay. So before we kind of wrap it up, I've got a couple more questions. A lot of people watching these videos are entrepreneurs, are people looking to start something or do something. So number one, what would be your best piece of advice for anyone looking to either photography, business, whatever that looks like? What would that be for them on that?
The hardest thing about being a photographer is really just the plethora of photographers. Everybody's a photographer. Your iPhone takes photos. It doesn't mean that everyone is a good photographer.
Agreed.
So there are a couple of things. It's just really looking at the value that you bring and recognizing that within yourself. And then creating an experience and the value that you want to bring to people. Because photography is not just photography. It is, you know, we are recording our lives. We are telling our stories. We are, you know, building our identities a lot of times, especially on social media with photography and the various types. And it can be such a tool for exploring the life that you want. and really capturing the life that you have. And so looking at that and saying, what do I really want for my clients to do? And then making it a whole experience for them, because it's not just photography. It never is. It's always, and when you're doing a photo shoot, I mean, your last family photo shoot, how stressed out were you? How stressed out was your wife?
I was saying, I was good. I was good. My wife, definitely stressed.
Yeah, yeah. And because there's so much pressure to look a certain way, you want them to come out well, you're just worried about it, you know what I mean? And so when your clients are coming in thinking about the state of mind that they're in, and then really just making that as seamless as you possibly can. And so when they leave a session with you, they're on this high. You know, whether you're doing headshots, family photography, wedding photography, boudoir, anything. It's just really important. The client experience is the most important thing. And then just being honest with yourself about what you need to sustainably run a business. Photography is fun, and a lot of people do it as hobbies, and they charge like hobbies, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, you have to look and be honest with yourself if you're going to be in business for a long period of time about what you need. And that's a hard conversation, I think, for any entrepreneur, but it's a necessary one.
Sure. No, I love it. Okay. How does anybody watching this, how do they get a hold of you? How do they book an appointment? What does that look like, and what avenues can they get a hold of you on?
Probably the easiest avenue to get a hold of me on is through email. You can go to my website, my contact page on my website, fill that out, shoot me a quick email, and it has a few questions about, you know, the time frame that you're looking for a photo shoot, and things like that will just help me be knowledgeable to respond back to you. Also, text messages are great. My phone dings at me all the time, so it is honestly probably one of my slowest channels, because I check it a couple times a day. My website is moodyboudie.com, and it's MOODYBOUDIE.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about biffing my number.
And the phone number will be on there too.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
It is.
Okay, fair enough. Before we wrap it up, anything else you want to add?
You know, someone came to one of my sessions, and she's like, oh my gosh, you get to do what you love every single day. And it's true. I get to do what I love. I get to feel fulfilled by it. And I get to help women heal themselves, which I think is so powerful. And so I just want to say thank you to this community for coming out and supporting me and keeping me afloat, and to just express my gratitude that this is my life and this is what I get to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And I'll say too, you guys, I've known Kaila now for, close to a year, I think now. But anyway, you see it, right? I see a lot of your love and your care for your people that are around you, right? And I think that shows in a lot of what you've been able to do, and knowing your story too, what you've come from too, is the story. If you haven't asked it, or if you don't know it, ask her when you're in here, because it's a fantastic story as far as that stuff goes. So if you guys are watching this and you have anybody that you know might be interested in boudoir or getting shots or anything, please reach out to Kaila. Reach out to them here. They're gonna take care of you. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So please reach out, share this video, hear Kaila's story so you kind of understand where she's coming from as well. But please go ahead and share this video with them and get them in touch with Kaila, and come on, take a look and see what they've got for you here. But as always, thank you so much for watching these videos here. I love doing them, and I love getting on with our local entrepreneurs. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you do, please go and hit that subscribe button. Go and hit that little bell so you get notified of any future content. And please, please, please share this video with somebody that you might know that's interested in having boudoir shots done and anything of that nature. So love to have Kaila help her out and get that taken care of. So thank you guys for watching. Kaila, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.